Good evening everybody and welcome to round 5 of the Next Gen Renault Mégane Trophy, sponsored by PowerMax Racing, hosted by Next Gen. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator as always in Lobby 1. We're halfway through the season, we're approaching break week, and we are here at this fantastic Autopolis International Circuit, built by a luxurious businessman way back when, in preparation for trying to host a Formula 1 event in the 90s. Didn't quite happen that year. However, he did manage to create this amazing circuit. We're watching Next Gen Hirakram, our championship leader, going around the circuit at the moment. The championship leader, the 4-time champion, of course, in this series. Can he continue his form? Can he keep up the momentum that he needs, in spite of a brilliant championship challenge so far from Bruce Lee Harden? He's having a fabulous season so far, is Bruce Lee. But before we go any further, we've just gone past 8:01. I'll let the drivers know qualifying is starting now, because we're due to get underway. And it's going to be a... Ooh, just notice if I can stop that. Renault's not entered. That's not good news. Qualifier's begun. So the drivers have an opportunity. Although, as I say that, I may have to restart the event, because Renault had entered the event and then it turned out he wasn't in the event. So that is fantastic. Yeah, and a comment coming in saying he was entered and then he stopped for some strange reason. So that's not good news. So we'll have to reset that if we can. Just double check where my settings are for this, because unfortunately I've never had to stop qualifying before and I can't do that. So everyone will need to exit. So not really sure quite what happened with Renault there. He was entered, but then on my screen he was entered and then for some reason he wasn't. So really bizarre. Not quite sure what happened, but we'll crack on in any case. I'm sure it won't take too long. Just waiting on Martin and Bruce Lee just to return. So Martin's done it. We're just waiting on Bruce Lee now. Bit frustrating. There we are. Everyone has now exited, so it gives everyone a chance to re-enter. It's very odd that I've not seen that before. I didn't even have the opportunity to cancel it as it was counting down. So we'll just wait for Martin to enter. Everyone is now in. Now I can start qualifying. So that should be easier now for everyone to crack on. Most important aspect really is the drivers being able to take part in the 10-minute qualifying session that we've got coming up. Let's have a tune in, see where everybody is. 10 minutes on the right hand side, you can see there, and the drivers will be peeling out of the pit lane. And you can see Dominator eager to get out in that Miltech car, the grey and red in front of us. He'll be keen to try and score another good result. He drove well last week at Laguna Seca, had a nice cameo fighting up near the front. Didn't quite pay off for him, but it was much needed drive from Dominator in terms of improving his ability racing with those right at the front in terms of the sharpest end of the field. But the champion from Lobby 2 last season definitely put in a good display. So let's just run through these championship standings so far in the 5th season of the Méganes. So Next Gen Hirakram currently in the pit lane at the moment Hopefully he hasn't got any issues with that. He's on 146 points after his race win last week and a battling podium drive. Second place is Bruce Lee Harden, his nearest championship challenger at the moment is Bruce Lee. He's on 137, so just 9 points separating these two, and has to be said, Bruce Lee really has stepped up to another level this season in the Mégane. It's been very impressive watching the Kappa driver, white and green, almost striking livery really for Bruce Lee. He's second in the championship, just 9 behind. Then we've got to go a little bit further back to P. Gibb, 92. He's in third on 113 points. Had 2 good rounds last week, did P. Gibb, in that steel seal car. Still seeking that first race victory in the Méganes. Will he have an opportunity maybe to put that to rights tonight? Fourth in the championship is Ruddo, 24. He's on 96. Matty Rudd is fifth in the championship on 85. He's 9 points behind his fellow family member there, Matty Rudd, 28. Didn't race last week, but he is in tonight, so opportunity beckons for more points for him. Duskiver's 6th on 76 points. Joint 7th currently, Martin JL09 and DMK Dominator, as Matty Rudd goes off at turn 1. Braked a little bit too late. Oh, he's made contact with Ruddo. Someone else has gone off as well in the gravel track. That's DMK Martin JL09. Wasn't looking at the time when both drivers went off, so whether there was any contact I'm not certain, but it's impacted Ruddo. He won't be too pleased about that on his first quali run. But as I was saying, Martin and Dominator both tied on 69 points for 7th. KZ2 Haas is 9th on 48, level with JPH as well. KZ2 Haas not here tonight, so as long as JPH finish is this race, he'll move up 1 position in the championship. Jainho is 11th on 42. Hopefully we'll have him back after the week break, which will be happening next week, so no racing next Thursday, but hopefully Jainho will be able to have his internet connection sorted. He is certainly a driver who's capable of good performances, but his internet unfortunately is causing him a few moments of grief. Vortex Racing and Alan 1 are on 30 points each in 12th. 1805 is 14th on 17, and D Hartley yet to score this season. So good evening to everyone who is watching at the moment. So in terms of the racing, it's going to be an exciting race, I do hope. Always around Autopolis. Tends to be a rather difficult circuit to overtake on, but it does lead to usually a lot more mistakes from seasons gone by, and that seemed to be the case a few seasons back, season 2, when we last visited Autopolis in this championship. Hirakram took the race win that day, followed by Bruce Lee Harding, and Ruddo 24 was in third. So a familiar podium in terms of the drivers who are still in this lobby, but currently we've just got these first initial flying laps coming in. Bruce Lee Harden is first. He's on a 147.1. Ruddo a little bit further back after his collision earlier on with one of the other cars that went off circuit. JPH is in third, Duskiver fourth, Dominator fifth, as Matty Rudd going on what will be now a proper lap for him. P. Gibby's just coming around the third to last corner, going around this penultimate turn at 15, and number 92 in third gear squeezes the throttle on as he comes round this final sharp left-hander. What lap time will he set? He goes provisionally pole for the time being on a 46.5. A good effort from him. What about Hirakram? He goes provisional pole. It's a 46.2. Expect Bruce Lee and Ruddo to be quicker than that. Obviously impeded on their opening runs, so a lot of opportunity for those drivers to improve further around the lap. Martin still just circulating. He's on his opening lap now by the seams of things, so hopefully for Martin he'll be able to set a more represented lap time than the 57 that's in the right hand side of the screen. We're already halfway through the session, would you believe? Only one flying lap set, so the drivers really do need to concentrate around this circuit. Just 3 miles around Autopolis, 3.5 miles. It's a very technical circuit with a very difficult middle sector to try and contend with in a final sector, which we're coming through here. Matty Rudd just flicking the cars through turn 13, 14. Very difficult corner to get right, and Bruce Lee moves himself up to third place. There's JPH going up to 5th position as well. Seems to be a bit of a slipstreaming queue there for the cars. Ruddo's just moved up as well. Good effort from Duskiver, a 147.3. that puts him onto the second row. Fantastic effort. And Martin's just coming round this penultimate corner now onto the main straight. We're going to ride on board for a lap with Martin. We haven't done that this season. So here comes Martin towards the line. He improves up to 7th. So on the approach towards turn 1, up into 6th gear, I'm sure Martin will go. And he'll be approaching 150 mile an hour when he brakes at that red bollard on the left hand side, that painted silver and red sign. Nicely done into 3rd gear, and then sweeps through turn 2, this very obviously flat right hander, and then he'll have to try and get the car hooked up on the brakes down into 3rd gear for turn 3. Covers over the inside curb here and then over the curb potentially. Keeps it nice and neat though through 4 and 5, and then on the brakes again down into 2nd gear for the hairpin. He went a little bit deep at turn 5, compromises him on the exit of 6 as he sweeps through 7. Turn 8, very difficult corner to get right. Got to balance the throttle in 4th gear, which Martin's doing very well. Just a little bit of a blip on the exit. He wasn't quite as committed as he would have wanted, and then up towards turn 10 on the brakes down into 3rd gear. Will he go to 2nd? He does. He's up on his personal best time so far by 200ths of a second. Nice and neat through turn 10 so far from Martin, so good effort at the moment. And then on the brakes down into 4th gear for this tricky right hander, which leads into a further swooping right and left turn. 4th gear down to 3rd, back up to 4th, and then 4th still as he comes through the most difficult part of the circuit for these Méganes. Front end of the car very heavy, but Martin has handled it well. He's used the pace of the car really nicely. Nice weight transfer going through the 3rd to last corner, and in the penultimate corner, a long difficult right hander. Tyres tortured at this stage, and he's done relatively alright, has Martin. So let's see what lap time he sets as he comes towards the line. What will he do? It's an improvement. He goes just under a 10th quicker. No position improvement for Martin, but still more time on the cards there for Martin. He certainly can improve on that. Maybe a few tenths here and there might see him move further up the grid. He'll have time to do one more lap after this one, as well as Hirakram now extends his gap at the front. He's just under half a second clear of P. Gibb, who's just behind him on the circuit at the moment. P. Gibb won't get enough time to set another lap. Hirakram, it's going to be very close if he can make another lap time, but you can see the drivers have only set 3 competitive laps in terms of where they are on circuit. You see Bruce Lee, he might get an additional one. Didn't have the best lap last time around at Bruce Lee, a 150.6, so a mistake somewhere. He's fallen behind JPH as well. But Bruce Lee 3rd at the moment, within touching distance of the front row. Only 2.5 tenths off the back of P. Gibb. Ruddo's in 4th. See him swooping now around turn 16. Flicks the car through 17, this left-hander. Cuts as much of the curb as he dares. Will he improve on his lap times? It comes towards the line. He does. It's a 46.6. That puts him past Bruce Lee. And he's just 200ths of a second off the back of the front row start. JPH being tracked very closely by Bruce Lee Hardin. Whether Bruce Lee benefiting from a tow or not is another matter. Dominator, he's in the pits. He won't improve any further now. 3.4 off the pace at 149.5, evidently his best lap time so far. So let's see if Hirakram will reach the checkered flag, because if he does, he'll be the first one to see it. He won't be able to improve. And he's actually backed off there, coming round the final corner. Maybe just squaring it up for one last attempt. No, in fact, he's pulling over. So Hirakram's session is done. What about P. Gibb? Hits the back of Hirakram. He was using as much slipstream as he could, but it didn't work out. P. Gibb then, best he can score then is 2nd place in this qualifying session. But there are still a number of drivers circulating on the track. Bruce Lee just getting past JPH 99 in the background. So Ruddo will be the next to see the checkered flag as he goes sideways coming out of turn 11. Well saved by the 24. Sweeps the car through. He's almost never ending turns 13, 14 and he's just coming through 15 now underneath the bridge. Looking relatively neat apart from that brief wild moment. I think JPH has gone round somewhere on circuit. Could be wrong, it could be Bruce Lee, but we'll see now as he comes towards the line. What's this lap time going to be from Ruddo? Will he get penalised for it? He improves onto the front row of the grid. He's alongside Hirakram. Great effort. JPH, he improves. So it was Bruce Lee who sadly went round. Duskiver, will he improve? He doesn't. What about Matty Rudd? He doesn't improve. Oh, he does improve, but for some reason our GT Sport timers says he doesn't improve for some bizarre reason. Just looking to see anyone else on a lap. Martin, he's finished. Hirakram then, the only man who can improve, but his position is certainly not under threat. He has got pole position once again, has Next Gen Hirakram, and he will be absolutely delighted with a pole position point. Just stretches his advantage now to 10 in the championship standings over Bruce Lee, who's down in 4th after a spin going through what looks to be turn 14. Hirakram though, he rolls over the line. He's got pole. Ruddo 24 alongside him on the front row. That's going to be a very interesting start for these two. Ruddo, we have seen in recent times how defensive he is. Might just work out in P. Gibb and Bruce Lee's favour. Matty Rudd and Duskiver very close together. Martin in 7th with JPH 8th, and a little bit further back, Dominator in 9th position. Good evening to 1805. He's just put a comment in there. But here we go then. In for the race. So it's Next Gen Hirakram on the left hand side of your screen in that green and white Joyce design car with Ruddo 24 and the Geisen black and red livery on the right hand side. Watch out for P. Gibb and Bruce Lee Harden on the second row, but there's 20 minutes on the right hand side, and for the 5th time this season, here come the numbers. And the race is live from Autopolis. What a start from P. Gibb. He's looking to challenge Hirakram, who bogged down at the start. P. Gibb being pushed onto the grass, but that's a brilliant, brave move. If he can try and make it stick going into turn 1, he's right on the sharpest edge of the inside. He's gone a little bit deep. Ruddo looking to try and switch back underneath him. Dominator sideways coming out of turn 1, but unfortunately for P. Gibb, he couldn't get it stopped. And Ruddo cements 2nd place again, and he's under threat is Gibb from Bruce Lee Harden, and Bruce moves into 3rd position. Martin's had a good start. He's up into 5th. There's Matty Rudd in 6th. Have a little look. I thought Martin maybe challenging P. Gibb into turn 3. Didn't quite happen for him, but despite his tardy start from Hirakram, he has somehow ended up in the lead. His positioning of the car going into turn 1 benefited him there, so he stays in the lead. That looks like Dominator. I was right there. Dominator just going through the weeds coming out of turn 8. But Hirakram leads the way. Ruddo's 2nd. There's Bruce Lee sideways out of turn 10. As P. Gibb in 4th. Matty Rudd's got past Martin for 5th place. Martin just looking to see if he can go around the outside. Can't quite make it. Matty Rudd then cements 5th position. JPH is there in 7th place. Duskiver's there in 8th. Duskiver's gone backwards a little bit from his grid start. And Dominator just holding on to the back of the pack at the moment. Just trying to get himself into a rhythm and a routine if he can. But Hirakram already threatening to try and run away with the race 1 victory if he can. Pulling away currently. It's coming up to about 7/10 is his gap as they cross the line to lap 1. Bruce Lee right in the slipstream of Ruddo 24. Won't look to make a move going to turn 1. Was a little bit too far back then. Was the Kappa driver. But he'll want to try and get past Ruddo if he can. Or try and use Ruddo to slipstream their way up to the back of Hirakram. Hirakram having a little bit of a difficult turn 1. He lost a 10th or 2 coming out of that corner. So Ruddo trying his utmost just to stay on the back of Hirakram, put him under a bit of pressure. And there's Gibb, then it's Matty Rudd, then it's Martin. JPH tracking Martin really well with Duskiver. Ooh, having a little look. Potentially going through what would be turn 6. So far, so good. Dominator's gone off somewhere. So unfortunately for Dominator, he's fell right off the back of the queue. Didn't have the best of times in Autopolis. Did DMK Dominator a few seasons back when we last visited here in Lobby 2, but just get some track running in for the next 17 minutes, use it as a test session, and then see how he gets on for potentially a reverse grid pole as it stands. But Hirakram stretching his legs now. He's got a second to the good over Ruddo, just as it looked like Ruddo was trying to pull him back in. Hirakram finding his rhythm once again. Bruce Lee, his focus will be trying on getting past Ruddo 24 if possible. But that's going to be difficult to do. Ruddo with a barnstorming effort to put himself on the front row right at the end of the session. So Bruce Lee just crossed the line, new personal best of course, onto lap 3 for the drivers. There's Gibb, there's Matty Rudd. Look at Martins on the outside going towards turn 1. Jordan looking for a move potentially up the inside to JPH, but JPH not close enough. He has to slot back in a little bit sideways from JPH as he came out the corner from turn 1. And Duskiver once again just doing what Duskiver does best. He just tracks the drivers that are scrapping in front of him, and if he can make an advantage pay, he will, as JPH went very sideways. The dirt just kicking the car out as he went through turn number 4. Oh, Duskiver sideways coming out of the hairpin. He just got a little bit too greedy with the throttle. That's dropped him back 1.3. That's going to be very difficult to try and claw back unless Martin and JPH start fighting. So just as I was praising Duskiver, unfortunately just came unstuck coming out of turn 6. Gonna have to regroup, refocus, get back into the swing of it if he can. But Hirakram's still leading the way. Ruddo still second, Bruce Lee third, P. Gibb fourth. And there's Matty Rudd, then it's Martin. Still under pressure from JPH. These two the closest cars on circuit right now. The number 4 and the number 16. Both fighting over 6th place. That's right on board with JPH as you come through the final sector here, just coming out of turn 14. You see Martin just went a little bit deeper. If JPH can get a nice tighter line through the penultimate corner, which he has done, he's on the throttle earlier as well. Martin will lose a little bit of momentum because of his tighter line. He went on the grass as well. So will JPH look for a move now as they approach turn 1? A new personal best. Martin will move to the inside line. So use the external camera for JPH. On the brakes they will go shortly. Well, JPH looks to go around the outside. He won't. Martin gets his line a little bit wrong, and through potentially goes Jordan, but he just got compromised by Martin's sideways car, and Martin will have the momentum to stay in front. So the Tang Tools driver will be able to... Oh, Martin's gone off into the grass, and through goes JPH into 6th place. That's what he needed, as Alan just joins a little bit late, so it'd be good to have Alan in for race 2. But unfortunately for Martin, he's dropped the position. It's brought Duskiver back into the little fight that they were having, Martin and JPH, because he's only less than 6/10 behind Martin, so hopefully for Duskiver he can use that slipstream to good effect. But Hirakram off and up the road, 1.7 now. It'd be very difficult to pull back the 4-time champion. Ruddo, well, he's still got Bruce Lee within 7/10 of him, and Pete Gibb as well, just following in the wheel tracks of the cars in front of him. There's a gap back to Matty Rudd, who's by himself at the moment, and then JPH and Martin still haven't given up. A couple of different lines taken there, you could see, through turn 14. You can see that the cars could take a couple of different methods through there, similar to what we saw at Formula 1 at Zolder at the weekend, with the different lines being used. Not Zolder, rather Zandvoort. My apologies on that one. But Autopolis creating different ways of going quicker around this circuit, which is fantastic. Let's have a look back to see where Bruce Lee is in relation to Ruddo. Still pretty close between the two. We'll ride on board with Bruce Lee. We'll just follow him as we tick over the time at 7.5 minutes done in this session so far. Purple sector for Bruce Lee in sector 1, but admittedly it is only one corner. You can see Fergie takes a later apex as opposed to Ruddo on this lap. Tighter line through turn 6. Oh, he's got a little too sideways. I'd had to make a couple of corrections, and P. Gibb wasn't quite close enough to take advantage of that. But Bruce Lee just drops to over a second now behind Ruddo 24. as they approach the hairpin once more. You can see different lines being taken through a number of corners on this circuit. Turn 10 again through that hairpin. A couple of different ways of taking it. You can go later and have a earlier squeeze on the power and a later apex, so you can brake deeper and earlier and have it much tighter. And we'll just watch Ruddo as he comes through here. We'll compare it to P. Gibb. See that Ruddo just clips the inside of the curb, lets the car drift out, and then clips it again and over this exit curb. P. Gibb, we only see the end of that, goes a little bit more over the curb on the exit, and there's a few different lines. They all relatively converge on each other in terms of pure race performance, but for the drivers it's more of a comfort style for them, whichever one they prefer. Gibb just climbs over the curb on the exit. Now JPH still has Martin and Duskiver on their tail. You see Duskiver, a new personal best of 47.2. Lobby very close in terms of lap time, just 1.1 separating the fastest lap from Hirakram to Duskiver in terms of his best lap. Obviously Dominator not really in that slipstream, so which is actually very beneficial around this circuit. It's really underestimated, but Dominator just getting some practice in because it'll be really important for his race 2 chances. And he goes into the 49s. So more time to come from him. And Hirakram just circulating in the low 46s. Ruddo just a little bit slower, 2.1 back now in the 46s, mid 46s. Bruce Lee as well in a similar ballpark. P. Gibb as well. Matty Rudd in the 47s. JPH as well in the mid 47s there. So JPH has got a lot of pressure on his shoulders now, has JPH, because these three have Constantined back up together. Martin runs a little bit wide through turn 11 and through turn 12. The curbs around Autopolis, of course, they can be very lethal depending on what corner you're at. These ones in particular through turn 14. You can see a little bit of corrections going on for the drivers midway through turn 14. Really tricky corner to get right. Duskiver just climbs over the curb a little bit. And then round the penultimate corner. Again, you can see all three drivers using different lines. Duskiver using the curb a little bit more. Martin going wider and then squaring up the corner. And JPH taking a middle ground between the two. So all finding their own ways of navigating around this brilliant circuit. And a comment just coming in there from Jainho saying he looks the fastest Duskiver of the three, very smooth. Does indeed. And we've seen this from Duskiver this season, just tracking the cars in front and just following their speed, learning where he can before making any effort on an overtake. As I say that, he goes a little bit deep at turn 6. Martin can't close as much as he wants to. He can't threaten JPH just yet. But there's still 8 minutes 20 left in the session to go, so there's still more time for that. Matty Rudd having a bit of a lonely race in 5th currently. He's just got to keep his concentration. It's really important for the drivers who are running sort of by themselves, so to speak. They have got a much more intense job sometimes than those that are defending, because those cars that are defending, maybe like JPH or Bruce Lee in this instance, who we'll cut to in a moment, they are the type of drivers, they have one job to do. They know they need to defend and keep up their pace, but their primary objective is to keep the car behind. Whereas for Matty Rudd, it's a case of just driving around the circuit, keeping to a set lap time where he can, not making any mistakes, and that's where lapses of concentration can come in. And he doesn't want to throw it off the road, but P. Gibb all over the back of Bruce Lee Harding, coming out of the final corner there through turn 17. It's going to be in the slipstream as they approach turn 1. You can see the approach for turn 1 is blind. Bruce Lee not defending. Oh, he is. He's gone to the middle, but he's not covered the inside. P. Gibb right through. He gets into the 3rd place position with a great overtake. Bruce Lee thought he'd done enough to defend, taking the middle part of the circuit, but P. Gibb was through. And to be honest, I have to say, it was a small amount of contact, but P. Gibb rightfully should have had that position. I don't think he needed to give it back, but P. Gibb, we know he's a fair driver. Doesn't want to take advantage if he feels like he may have done someone wrong. So P. Gibb lets Bruce Lee back through, which is a surprise for me, but that's why he's the gentleman driver. That's why he's so popular in this championship. He's the only person in this championship in both lobbies to have a hashtag Gibbo for pole, for those that are unaware. But see how he does, the number 92. Certainly got the speed tonight, has Gibbo. He looks very quick. It's been in the 46s, and you get that feeling late, now that we're in the final quarter, or coming up to the final quarter of this race, you get the feeling that he's quicker than Bruce Lee. And you could see he's all over the back of the Kappa driver coming through these corners. In turn 13, he's taking a tighter line. Through 15 here. So again, he's a little bit tighter. Bruce Lee just stretching those tyres as far to the white line as he could. Again, different lines being taken. He's close again coming out of turn 17, so he's going to be in a slipstream again. Bruce Lee, he won't fall for that twice. I'm fairly certain Bruce Lee will cover the inside a lot more, and he does this time. Number 69 moves to the inside line. Will P. Gibb try and go all the way around the outside? He brakes later. Can he get it stopped? He can. There's a little bit of contact between himself and Bruce Lee, but he keeps the position. Or does he? Will Bruce Lee slot him behind? He does indeed. Good racing from the two, but what a fabulous overtake from P. Gibb 92. He's up into third. The Steel Seal driver on the podium, and that's good news for the man in first place. Hirakami will be happy that he's taken points away from Bruce Lee. Difference between first and fourth place in this championship, 8 points. In terms of those that win the race, are 21 points scored. Those that come in fourth will score 13. But can Bruce Lee retaliate? And Hirakami has pole position and the fastest lap point, so that'll be an extra 10 points for his championship challenge for Hirakami. So it'll be 19 points clear after this event, if points stay as they are, as Gibb just touched the curb inside, on a little bit on the gravel. Kept the car in a straight line just about. Cut further back, JPH still in 6th position. He still has Martin with him. Does Skyver just drop back on that last lap with a 48 flat, as opposed to the 2 ahead of him? So maybe a little mistake somewhere out on circuit. Just watching to see Martin and JPH is just a little bit deep there as Martin. That's going to cost him a bit of time. Is Bruce Lee close enough to think about a challenge going into turn 1? I don't think there's enough slipstream and enough road for Bruce Lee to make a late lunge. He's going to look to the inside, but he'll come back in, I'm fairly certain, which he does. Oh, Pete Gibb goes deep into turn 1. Can he cover the line? He can't. So Bruce Lee's on the inside as they come out of turn 1 through turn 2. Bruce Lee's going to be a nose in front as they come towards turn 3. An unforced error from P. Gibb drops him down to 4th. And Bruce Lee will be happy with the 2 extra points. 3 minutes, 18 seconds to go in this lobby for race 1. But P. Gibb driving very well, as is Bruce Lee, but they just trying to cut the mistakes out where they can. These two 9.5 seconds off the back of Hirakami at the moment, who's just putting in a display realistically of how good he is around Autopolis. Look at this consistency, has been incredible tonight so far in this race. A 46 all the way from the first flying lap that they could do. Only a 3/10 variance in his lap times around here. That's brilliantly consistent from Hirakami. Ruddo as well, he's showing good form. He had a little bit of an error last lap around. He dipped into the 47s for the first time. But Ruddo will be encouraged by that. Be very encouraged by his performance. Maybe an opportunity will present itself in race 2 when he tries to fight his way back through the field. Bruce Lee, though, he's got P. Gibb all over his rear spoiler once again. Doesn't look like P. Gibb's as close as he has been before. So they'll have 2 laps left, including this one. 2 laps left. P. P. Gibb, will he look to the inside line? He brakes a little bit later. He will brake too late. He's going to go off into the gravel trap, and sure enough, he does. He got caught out by the braking of Bruce Lee. Matty Rudd will sweep through. JPH might go through as well. He does. Matty Rudd, we've already covered going through. What about Martin? He leaves it to the last minute, jinks to the inside. And that is that in terms of his podium chances. P. Gibb, he was braking later into turn 1 as opposed to Bruce Lee was P. Gibb, but he just threw it into the gravel trap. It caught him out. Oh, he's got it wrong coming out of turn 6 as well. And Duskiver will be thinking, can he make any impression on the steel sealed car in front of him? But this is a point for P. Gibb now. This is a point for him to take into acknowledgement. He's in 7th right now. He's made a mistake. It's going to be very difficult for him to get past and up into the top 5 where JPH is right now. Does he tactically look for that first race win in race 2? Will he try and stay in position where he is right now and try and make the most of a good launch in race 2? He got a great launch in this race, challenged for the lead, didn't quite keep it in the end. But does he think tactically? Does he play that game? We'll soon see. Drivers just coming towards the line. That'll be Hirakram. So Hirakram, Ruddo, definitely Bruce Lee and Matty Rudd, they should all get a lap. Just having a look to see. Everyone else should do, apart from Dominator. As P. Gibb holds a tighter line coming through turn number 16. He's not going to be close enough to make a lunge, so it's going to be very hard for the Steel Seal driver to make an impression on Martin in front. Let's just watch P. Gibb as he comes towards turn 1. Braked a little bit earlier than what he has been. A very nice line through turn 1, it has to be said. Duskiver there in 8th place. Just watching and waiting is the ITG driver. There's Dominator. He's coming towards his final lap now. Not been the easiest of races for him, but he'll be on pole for the reverse grid. So let's see how Dominator gets on. So he'll come home in 9th position. Just cut back to JPH, who's leading this train of cars in 5th position. There's Martin, then it's P. Gibb, then it's Duskiver. As Dominator crosses the line. No one at the moment is threatening any position change. Just have a look and cut back to P. Gibb. He looked like he was close to Martin, but he's dropped away from him. Martin a little bit closer actually to JPH right now. It's going to be difficult to get past though, with a few cars left. We'll cut back to Hirakram though, because he's been absolutely outstanding in this race. A 46 flat for his best lap so far. It's going to be another win for this season for Next Gen Hirakram around Autopolis. A fabulous result. He wins the first race of the night. Ruddo, he'll come home in 2nd place. More championship points for him with Bruce Lee. A good effort to hold on to 3rd in the end after pressure from P. Gibb earlier. Matty Rudd, a quiet race to 4th, but more points banked. Here comes JPH, Martin, P. Gibb, Dominator has already finished, and Duskiver will finish off those on the lead lap. But it's Next Gen Hirakram who wins here at Autopolis for race 1. The full complement in terms of results there for Hirakram. Pole position, fastest lap, led every lap, and the race win. The Grand Kellum for him. Absolutely awesome for him to have. So race 2 will start at 20:45 is when we'll do it. Just so that they're aware, we'll let the drivers know. .20:45, so the drivers know. So they'll have a little bit of a break for the time being. We'll make some changes to the events. We change the event settings. So Dominator will line up on pole position with Duskiver alongside on the front row. P. Gibb, after his mistake when challenging for 3rd, will line up on 3rd. He will line up on the third place position. Whether he can take any advantage, we'll soon find out. P. Gibb just put a comment saying he forgot there was a corner. 1805 saying this game's still updating. That's unfortunate. P. Gibb saying oh dear in the Twitch chat there. Well, there's a chance for you, P. Gibb, in race 2. Good opportunity here to utilise. I'm just taking a few moments just for a breather. Dominator's avoided already one of his main tasks for tonight's race, which is to avoid getting glapped. JPH is saying a 15-minute race. I'm aware of that, JPH. I do know. Of course I'm aware. I myself just having a little breather whilst the drivers themselves get the chance to regroup, reconfigure, prepare themselves for race 2. So we'll wait for the time being, see what the drivers are doing currently. A couple of them just entered, having themselves a comfort break. Only 3 minutes till the race starts, so won't be too long to wait. A 15-minute sprint to the checkered flag. And you have to say, there is a little bit of pressure here, but P. Gibb is in a prime position to potentially take a first ever race victory in the Méganes. He will line up third on the grid on the second row, just as he did in race 1, and he had a great start in race 1. He really launched off the line, just didn't quite get the angle that he would have wanted. He had to brake earlier for turn 1, so he didn't make any contact. So he's got an option here, an opportunity, as does Skyver. Skyver looked very good during that race, despite the fact that he was following JPH and of course Martin JL09. He'll be hoping that he can get off to a good start, maybe track P. Gibb to begin with. Try and maybe make a potential effort for the win. A couple of comments just coming in. Saying Hiracram's weak track is the Red Bull Ring. Anywhere else he could stay in his toe. Jainho saying he has won a race, hasn't he? He hasn't. P. Gibb has never won a Mégane race before. He's won a Volkswagen Scirocco race, which I commentated on last season. He did win around Tsukuba, if my memory serves me correctly. He did win around in the Sciroccos, but he's never won a Mégane race. Couple of seasons of trying. He's come close on a number of occasions in the past lobbies. It's never quite worked out for him. He's had a number of poles, but that first race win is still yet to be added to his CV. Impressive CV for P. Gibb, a number of podiums, a number of pole positions. He's just missing that victory trophy cabinet. It'd be a very popular win in the next gen community if he could pull it off. But again, it's all ifs, buts and maybes. It comes down to the race and a stroke of fortune for those that break through for that first race win. The time, though, ticks over to 20:45. It was bright. Apologies on that, P-Gib. It was Brands Hatch. You are right indeed. I do remember now. Waste incident was at Tsukuba. That's why I remember it so well. So we'll just wait on Martin to enter the race. I'll just put race 2 starting shortly for the drivers so that they're aware. Waiting on Martin to enter. Obviously don't want to enter without him. We don't want a qualifying situation again. It will be interesting as well to watch the drivers coming back through the pack. We know that Renault 24 is very good at moving through the track. He's a little bit more decisive at times than our championship leader Hirakram. That's no slight on Hirakram, of course, but Renault does have that ability to just make his presence known where he needs it. A little bit more insightful, but Hirakram calculates his moves really well. It's a rarity you see him make a mistake in battle with another car. So we're just waiting on Martin. I think he's been replying to a few comments in the Mégane chat area. He needs to be replying to the call to get himself in the lobby. And he now has done that, so that's fabulous. Let's get things underway then. 15-minute sprint race for the drivers. Race 2 here at Autopolis is about to begin. So then, for the second race of the night, it's Dominator 3 on the left-hand side in that grey and red Miltech car. Duskiva on the right in the blue and white ITG. Watch out for P-Gib and Martin JL09 on the second row. What an opportunity it is for those two. But there's 15 minutes on the right-hand side of the final time tonight. Here come the numbers. And the race is live once again from Autopolis. It looks like a relatively good start from the front three as Duskiva looks to go around the outside of Dominator as they come towards turn 1. Who can position their car the best? Here comes P-Gib up the inside. He needed to make that incisive move. He's trying to do so. He's trying to get his way through. He's going to be in second, potentially on the run towards turn 3. He's going to be on the inside line. JPH tracking him as well. Good start from JPH. Really brilliant start. He's looking to the inside, but he can't get there. It's P-Gib then. Gets himself up to second. What a move that was. It was vital he did that. JPH on the outside line. He's going to try and go round the outside. He's going to be on the inside for turn 6. Duskiva not giving him much room, but JPH will have the momentum. There's a bit of contact, then round goes Duskiva. That's impacted Renault. That's Hirakram off in the grass as well. Duskiva's gone round. Duskiva's pulling over. Or is he getting himself back onto the racetrack? That's really unfortunate. There was a car that hit him, who got hit into the back of him, and Renault dives one up the inside of his sibling there. But Duskiva really unfortunate. He's lost out there. Look at Bruce Lee. He's going past JPH. JPH letting him through. So Bruce Lee up to third, from third to last on the grid. Martin still in 5th. Renault 6th. Hirakram had to go grass cutting. It's a little bit further back, and this is the chance that anyone needs. And P-Gib, he needs to make the chance while he can. He's going to try and go around the outside. At turn 15, he's got the momentum through 16. Can he hold the car before the curb? He can, and he leads. This is his opportunity. He needs to take it, but Bruce Lee wants to get involved in that. He needs to make up places in the championship fight. He can't switch back under Dominator. Dominator, a really good defensive showing. And look at JPH. He's going to have so much momentum. He's going to blast past these two. JPH on the outside line, Bruce Lee on the inside line. Who's going to be the most brave on the brakes? It's going to be Dominator and JPH. Dominator's on the inside. Martin gets a little touch into the back of JPH, but they all come through it somehow. JPH now on the inside line going through turn 2. He should be able to brake a little bit later than Dominator. Dominator, fair play to him, holding it on the outside, but he just drifts out a little wide and he drops to third. Bruce Lee looking for fourth. Ruddo taking advantage of Martin going off the track by the seams of things. He's on the inside as Bruce Lee. Can he get past Dominator? He's really pushed his way through Ruddo. Oh, that was a little bit messy from Dominator. He just lit the tyres up on the curb. Luckily, kept himself in a straight line thanks to Bruce Lee's left door panel. And look at Ruddo now also trying to make a move for fourth position. He's going to brake later than Dominator. And up the inside he goes. Elbows out racing from everybody. Absolutely right, 1805. There's Matty Rudd. Hiracram's up to 7th now. He's got a bit of a train to try and get through because JPH is running in second. But look at that gap. This is a big chance. Let's see how he gets on. But this is an opportunity. Might not present itself like this again for him. Let's see how he gets on. But JPH, what a start from him, I've got to say. Really good effort. You know, just kept himself out of trouble and he's in second position. But he's got Bruce Lee behind him and Jordan just went a little deep then. That's going to cost him a good bit of momentum coming towards turn 1. Will JPH defend going into turn 1? He won't. Looks to the inside. Does Bruce Lee hard him? Ooh, a little bit of contact. Oh, Bruce Lee all over the curb. That's not going to help him. Look at Ruddo. Ruddo almost like a piranha. He'll try and attack wherever he can. He's going to go to the inside line. Bruce Lee trying to use that momentum from JPH. And Bruce Lee lets him through. So Ruddo up to third. I don't think Bruce Lee... Ooh, Bruce Lee on the curb. He's on the grass again. He's got to keep away from there. Very lethal. Oh, Bruce Lee again trying to look at the inside at Ruddo. You could see different lines again being used by the drivers through turn 6, but he couldn't make it stick. So now Ruddo has got to try and defend and attack the two family members. It's actually family member sandwich in terms of the Ruddos and the Hardins, but at the moment he's got to try and find a way past JPH, and JPH certainly no slouch at all. You know, had a number of podiums in this championship. He may not have won a race. Oh, he's gone deep into turn 11, and as soon as I said it, he went wide, and that releases Ruddo. He's got 10 minutes to pull back a 3.6 second gap. That is going to be fascinating to see if he can do anything with that. JPH then in third. Bruce Lee a little bit sideways coming through turn 15, and you feel he's going to try and get past JPH as quickly as he can. Didn't get the best of lines, to be honest, coming out of turn 16, but he's in the slipstream, as is JPH though, so won't have as much of an effect as it would do normally had JPH not been in the slipstream. And sure enough, Bruce Lee has to just settle in behind. Hiracram's making progress still. He's in 5th. There's Matty Rudd. Then it's Dominator. Martin's fallen back. Deskyver, sadly, after his lap 1 incident, it's going to be difficult for him to come back. But JPH holding on to that podium. Bruce Lee's got his championship rival all over his rear spoiler. We ride on board with Hiracram, looking at alternative lines for the championship leader. And Hiracram will feel that even though he's in 5th, he's still got a chance of getting not just a podium, but second, maybe even first. Look at the momentum he's got. What's happened to P. Gibb? Oh, he's gone off. Would you believe it? P. Gibb. He's thrown it away. I'm almost stunned into silence with that. I just looked at the top and P. Gibb wasn't there anymore. And now he's down there. What a shame. 4 seconds to the good. That opportunity may never come round again, and that is such a shame. But it puts Ruddo in a lead. Ruddo now leads the way. JPH is second. Look at this train he has behind him. Hirakam, Bruce Lee, Matty Rudd as well. All fighting for position. Look at Hirakam vaulting over the curb. Bruce Lee giving him a little tap in the tail. Just to put him offline through the final corner. Elbows out tactics going on here for the drivers. Bruce Lee will get a double toe from the cars in front. JPH is wise to the cutback. He's not daft. He's very astute in battle as JPH. They're going to be side by side going through turn 1. Hirakam breaks later, a lot later, and gets through around the outside. He's on the gravel though, he hasn't got the momentum. Where does JPH go? Because he's in an awkward position. They're almost free wide, but not quite. JPH trying to defend to the inside, but Bruce Lee's going to be there. They're going to give each other racing room, and through goes Bruce Lee. Hirakam runs a little bit deeper. Bruce Lee's trying to make a lunge up the inside. That's brave from Bruce Lee, and he gets the move done. That was a brilliant bit of creative thinking from Bruce Lee to move up to second. Absolutely fantastic. What an overtake. He moves back into second. Hirakam will be really frustrated at that. But Bruce Lee giving it his utmost. He's gone as defensive as he can. Will ride on board with JPH. Following this back. Look at Matty Rudd at the inside almost. At turn number 10. Well, Matty Rudd just watching what's going on in the background. A couple of comments coming in, gutted at what happened and what has befallen to P. Gibb. We didn't see it, but he was off somewhere by turn 7 and 8. But look at Hirakam putting the pressure. Oh, tandem drifting for the two green and white cars. But still no overtake as of yet. Ruddo will be very happy at this development because he's now 3.5 seconds clear with 6 minutes to go. The race victory is in his hands now. It's just down to him, and he sets a new fastest lap. Oh, I say that. Hirakam's done a 46.1 on that lap, so why it's not been updated, not sure. But look at Bruce Lee. He's defending to the inside of Hirakam. Drifts a little bit wide, little bit of door-to-door contact between the two. JPH just following these two in the PMR car. Oh, he's got it wrong! Oh, JPH got it so wrong coming into turn 3. He just braked way too late. And that is Hirakam down into 7th. JPH down to 8th. Duskiver up to 8th place actually. So JPH is down the back of the grid. Oh dear, oh dear. That is not a mistake that anyone would want. Whew, what an interesting race this has been so far. Absolutely incredible. But that brings P. Gibb back up to 5th. Looking for a move up the inside at maybe turn 10. Can he go through? He can't. And he just sits in for 4th place. That brings Bruce Lee then and Matty Rudd into 2nd and 3rd position. Good news for those two. They now have a relatively trouble-free run to a podium position. Dominator's dropped backwards. What's happened to Dominator? He's gone very slowly. I suspect. I think he's gone through the gravel trap at turn 11. Not ideal, but Ruddo 4.6 seconds to the good. And this is a big development for Bruce Lee Harding now. He's got 18 points under his belt in the position that he's in, and with Hirakam currently looking like he's going to score 11 points as it stands. That's 7-point swing back to him. Pete Gibb trying to go up to an outside move around it, turn 1. He pulled it off before, but Martin looking for his best result of the season in 4th. Oh, he's gone a bit deep as Martin. Look at P. Gibb, he's got the momentum, but he just slots himself back in. Duskiver's now rejoined with JPH. JPH looking a lot quicker of the two. But two big developments in this race. First mistake from P. Gibb, and then another one from JPH taking himself and Hirakram off. Hirakram been on the grass twice tonight through no fault of his own. JPH trying to go around the outside at turn 8. I've not seen this one since the lobby 2 days when Martin pulled it off a few seasons back. JPH's got a very good run. Skyver goes to the inside line. Will JPH go around the outside? He doesn't. Tries to get on the power earlier. Just uses the inside curb. But he stays in position. So Hirakram running in 6th place. 2 minutes 48 to go now. And the drivers that are closest on circuit are the battles for 4th and 7th. Hirakram just in the middle of this. He might still fancy his chances, Hirakram, in terms of getting past either P. Gibb or Martin. He'll be a bit frustrated. He'll be very frustrated, will Hirakram. He won race 1. It was looking good for a podium for race 2, and it hasn't played out at all the way he would have wanted. Matty Rudd, though. The big benefit, the big winner of tonight so far is Matty Rudd. He's been relatively decent with his pace in terms of the mid-pack, but he finds himself in 3rd. Not made any mistakes as far as I'm aware, and hopefully won't until the end of the race, but this is a good effort for him. Again, just scoring those points every time he shows up for the lobby. JPH, in the meantime, he's alongside Skyver. I think he's got the move relatively done at this point, and he moves back into 7th. Hirakram still in 6th. Not made any gains, has Hirakram. So the main battle now, providing that JPH and Skyver don't come together, is these two. And look how close it is. Martin trying to hold off with 1 lap to go after this one for 4th place. Be a great effort if he can hold on. But Martin doing a sterling effort. He did get caught up in that lap 1 incident, which turned around Skyver, but oh, he's got a little bit into the gravel trap. P. Gibb not quite close enough to make a move past. Hirakram will have 1 lap after this to try and make any inroads. If these two keep fighting the way that they are, he'll be on them before the end of the race. You can see the gap now just coming down. 1.1 between these two and Hirakram in 6th place. In fact, it's consistently come down. Oh, Martin's got that line wrong. P. Gibb, if he plays this properly, should be able to get a switch back. Martin defended really well, though, through the corner. Now, will P. Gibb move to the inside line? He doesn't. He goes outside. Hirakram now within a second of these two as they move on to the final lap. Will P. Gibb try and go around the outside? He does. He breaks a little bit later, maybe too late. And Martin still holds on to position. P. Gibb over the gravel a little bit coming out of turn 1, but Martin will keep the 4th place. And Hirakram has come to say hello in that Joyce design car. Can P. Gibb make any move on this final lap? Gotta say, Martin's defending brilliantly at the moment. He's just got to keep it together for these last corners, this final half of the lap still to remain. He's got a good exit, actually. A little bit on the crash as he came out of turn 8, but that's a very good exit. As they approach now turn 10, Gibb looks to the inside, maybe also to defend from Hirakram a little bit. But there's no real opportunity now for P. Gibb. It's going to have to be a mistake from Martin. We'll watch as they come through turn 11. I will cut back to Ruddo. Let's watch the cars as they dive through turn 11. All looks nice and clean for the drivers. But we're going to come back to Ruddo. This is probably not what he expected. He probably didn't expect a race win in race 2 considering Gibb's gap. But it's got to be said, he's driven excellently. He's took the opportunity with both hands. It'll be Ruddo 24 for race 2. He's going to win around Autopolis. Brilliant result for him. Bruce Lee, good points for the championship. That's big for him. He's going to come home in 2nd. Great effort for Matty Rudd. Another podium this season. Martin will hold on for 4th. Look at the gap for the line. It's going to be exceptionally close for 5th. But it's going to be P. Gibb. Hirakram in 6th. JPH will lead Skyver over the line for 7th and 8th. Dominators finished. But what a race 2 we had there. That was absolutely fantastic. But congratulations goes the way of Ruddo24. Brilliant result for him. He will be absolutely ecstatic with that victory. But that is the race here at Autopolis. 2 brilliant races tonight. It's been exceptionally exciting. A few developments that no one was expecting. But there we are. Championship still remains wide open with Bruce Lee just 12 points behind now going into the season break, where we will be back in a few weeks' time. So next week, no racing going on with Next Gen for the Mégane Trophy. But then the week after that, which will be, for those that can't count, the 23rd of September, we're back at round 6 for Willow Springs. That'll be a wonderful track to race around, a Slipstream in Heaven circuit. It's where Dominator 3 made his debut in the Méganes 2 seasons ago. So let's see if he can replicate the same 4 that he showed on that night. Number of comments just coming in, so we'll have a look at those before we go. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Thanks to everyone who's been watching in the Méganes this season so far. All these races will be uploaded over to YouTube as well, so do check out JackTM53 Synopsis on YouTube, where you can view all of the past races that have gone on, not just from this season but the past 4 seasons of the Mégane Trophy as well. But that's it from me, that's it from the Méganes and Next Gen with Power Max Racing as well. So wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one and see you soon.